Well, let's begin the bulletin with the escalating violence in the United Kingdom as Ghanaians living there are still expressing fear for their lives. Reports coming indicate that the anti-immigration protesters are moving from the outskirts of the country into central London to vent their anger. There have not been any official communication from the Foreign Affairs Ministry on the situation yet, but Ghanaians have been advised to remain indoors by 7 p.m. to avoid being caught up in the anti-immigration protest that has swept across the country within the past week. Let's share with you more on this particular one by bringing in Daniel Dadzie of the BBC. He is joining us via Zoom now to share with us more. Danny, so you've been monitoring the situation on the ground. We understand that the chaos is heading towards central London. What's the situation now?
It was not really exempt from the protests last week. Last week, we did see protests near the seat of Parliament, Westminster, and the seat of the executive arm of the UK government in Whitehall. Of course, it was more chaotic in the northern parts of the UK, and that is why these advisories that have been coming since yesterday that London could be seeing some protests are being taken very seriously, because we've seen destruction of property, attack of police officers, and we have seen, burning of police cars, a general wave of anti-immigrant sentiment since the murder of those 3 very young girls last week.
Well, we understand that the protest was getting to central London. Yesterday, someone told us that even north part of London will be experiencing this. Have we seen anything like that today?
Well, Samuel, you mentioned in your intro that the advisory that went out was about the evening. And so during the day, we have not seen that especially. I saw that advisory myself about North London, a neighborhood called Waltham Forest, Walthamstow. And it advised that it will be in the evening at about 5:30 p.m. British Standard Time, which will be about 4:30 p.m. GMT. So currently there's a general state of readiness. We've been speaking to the police, and our sources tell us there that they're expecting about 100 incidents, not just in London, but across the country, in terms of the anti-immigrant protests. And then there will also be some 30 counter-protests to what is happening. They've deployed about 6,000 officers to basically show visibility and be there, of course, to quell any disturbances.
But what are the exact demands by the protesters?
It's difficult to pinpoint exactly, but this is, of course, born out of the murder of these 3 young ladies, like I told you. And what we've noticed being the rhetoric around it, for instance, if you go to some cities, they attacked a hotel which was known to house asylum seekers. So there's been the rhetoric of stopping the boats. By that expression, stop the boats, is very common here in the UK. It refers to the boats that come across the English Channel from France, or people who go the long route in coming into England. Those coming from Ghana would, for instance, go through the desert and go through Libya, and then cross, the Suez Canal, the sea into Spain, Italy, those border countries, and then walk into France and then come into England. So we've seen a lot of rhetoric around immigrants being asked not to come in, especially through those illegal routes. There's also those who are generally saying that those who come, whether to legal or illegal routes, do not reflect the English spirit. And that's what we've seen with the killing of these 3 young ladies.
I'm grateful to you, Daniel Dadzie of the BBC, for joining us this afternoon. And now, Papa Osua-Nkrumah is Ghana's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. We are fortunate to have him also join us to give us some perspectives from the official information gathered. Papa, I'm grateful to you for joining. Your Excellency, what does the High Commission know officially about the situation on the ground?
Well, just that there's been demonstrations since Sunday when this incident occurred. And then today, I know that they're expecting demonstrations in several parts of the country, including London, Bromley, and the North Finchley, and of course Croydon. expecting some demonstrations to commence early in the evening. So we've alerted our Ghanaians through the unions all over the country to be careful and not go out in the late evening. Those who can should try and be at home or indoors by 6 o'clock. And actually, in the case of our mission, we have even encouraged the staff, particularly the local staff, to leave at 3 o'clock, which is about an hour and a half ago. We don't expect that there will be any targeted incidents at immigrants or their homes. However, we've advised that Ghanaians should not go close to where these demonstrations are being held because they tend to turn violent. And even with the police prepared to protect citizens and their property, we find that sometimes they are overwhelmed. But we are assured by the statement by the police commissioner and the prime minister that they are taking these demonstrations very seriously, and that those who are found to have broken the law, damaged property, or turned violent will face the full rigors of the law. And I know that some of them have been sent to court, convicted, and are waiting sentencing.
Okay. Now, have you had calls from Ghanaians living in the UK for rescue on this developing story? Have you had any calls?
No, certainly not. I mean, it's not as large scale as people may think. It's rather isolated, except that it seems as if it's organized nationwide through social media by some extremist groups who are taking advantage of the frustration of some citizens of the UK and trying to promote ethnic animosity against minorities. But generally, the UK is a very safe place for ethnic minorities. I think that it's probably one of the most inclusive societies in Europe. Okay. So I trust that this matter will blow over in the next few days with the robust position taken by the police.
But yesterday when we were tracking this, we had not heard of any attacks on Ghanaians specifically. But have you had any of such attacks on Ghanaians, especially in this case?
No, I've not. The mission has not had any information about any Ghanaian being attacked, except for something that we saw on social media where someone is purported to have been attacked. We've not received any official information. We've contacted the leadership of Ghana unions in the entire UK, including Northern Ireland, and they've assured us that no Ghanaian has been attacked during these demonstrations.
Okay. So aside asking the citizens to stay indoors after 7 p.m., is there anything the mission is doing to protect the citizens there?
Well, there's nothing much that the ministry can do except liaise with the diplomatic and parliamentary police, and at least for them to keep an eye on the diplomatic premises and advising Ghanaians. I don't think any individuals or groups have been attacked warranting the intervention of any mission. No. I mean, these are quite isolated, even though it's calculated. And the media coverage has also then heightened, let's say, people's apprehension about these things escalating. But I dare say that, well, it will turn around in the next few days.
Now, we've heard some countries asking their citizens to be careful about traveling to the UK. Will you say the situation on the ground is safe enough for Ghanaians to travel to the UK within these days?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I've been to Heathrow earlier in the day, and I was in Luton Airport too just yesterday. I mean, nothing is happening. It's not as if you see marauding bands of vigilantes running through cities. You know, these normally take place after working hours.
Okay.
And I believe that the police has done very well, and I don't expect these things to deteriorate any further.
Okay, which means that if a Ghanaian is going to travel into the UK and he will arrive at night, he should be careful, right?
That's all. That's all. We say that. Yes, you should be careful. You should be aware of your surroundings. And when you get to know that protests are taking place in certain places, you try and avoid them. That is all.
Okay. All right. We are grateful to you. But has there been any measures put in place for Ghanaians to probably reach the mission in case anything goes untoward?
Well, I mean, we have something on our website to that effect. It's been there all along, and we've advised the leadership of the Ghanaian unions to inform Ghanaians that if anyone is in a distressful situation, to get in touch with the High Commission. In fact, the leadership has expressed appreciation to the mission for the proactive stand we've taken in this matter, getting in touch with them to inquire from them if any of our compatriots need help.
All right. Papa, I'm grateful to you for your time here. Papa Osankuma is Ghana's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. And earlier we heard from BBC's Daniel Dadze joining us with what is happening on the ground. I'm grateful to you gentlemen. Moving on away from that story, the Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, has pledged the government's commitment to reducing inflation to single digits by next year, with the goal of alleviating the severe economic hardships faced by Ghanaians. Businesses have consistently expressed concerns about their ability to survive in such harsh conditions. But at a town hall meeting on Tuesday, Finance Minister Mohamed Amin Adam sought to explain some of the concerns raised about the economy, recognizing the untold hardship brought on by his government's decision to go to the IMF.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, on the macroeconomic front, you all can attest to the efforts the government has made. And so if we say we have come around, then we really mean it. We are not deceiving the people of Ghana. A lot has been done, and the economy has really turned around. And we are going to even do better and better and better in the years ahead. Now, let me brief you, update you on the debt restructuring, which is one of the major achievements this government has made. We decided to restructure our debts because it was one of the requirements by the IMF. We started with the domestic debt exchange program. The domestic debt exchange program was a very successful program, achieving 95% participation. And on this note, I would like to appeal to the people of Ghana to forgive us. To forgive us. It is never the intention of any government to impose hardships on its people. More so, the MPP government that has demonstrated that we want to reduce the burden of the Ghanaian people. And I will show why this government has, from the beginning, try to reduce the burden of the Ghanaian people. That same government cannot impose hardships on the same people. It was a necessary, very important decision at the time that if we avoided it, our economy will not recover such as it has recovered today. The decisions we made and all the support you gave us, the people of Ghana, during the DDEP has contributed largely to the recovery our economy is seeing today. And this is why I want to appeal to you to forgive us. But also to thank you, the people of Ghana, to thank you on behalf of the president for the sacrifices, for the efforts that you all have made in participating in the domestic debt exchange program that saved our economy. And so I thank you very much for that support you gave to the government.
Now, he assured the government is committed to reducing inflation to single digit by next year, aiming to alleviate the suffering of Ghanaians.
Inflation, the rate of inflation, headline inflation, in 2015 was 17.7%. In 2016, it came to 15.4%. 17.7 in 2015, 15.4 in 2016. In 2027, when we took government, inflation came down further to 11.8%. The year after, 2018, it became a single-digit inflation. Single-digit inflation in 2018 at 9.4%. Again, in 2019, we had a single-digit inflation of 7.9%. 2 consecutive years, the longest period a government has recorded a single-digit inflation. 2 consecutive years. We have had single-digit inflations in the past. But 2 consecutive years, 24 months of a single-digit inflation was historic. Now, when the Russia-Ukraine war happened, again, as I said, we saw global inflation going up. And ours was also negatively affected. In fact, inflation went up to about 54%. In 2022. But again, see the effort we have put into managing inflation in Ghana. In June this year, in 17, 18 months, we have brought inflation down from 54% to 22%. In 17 months, we have more than halved inflation from 54% to 22%. And we are determined to end this year with an inflation rate of 15%. God willing, inshallah, if this party continues in government next year, we are even further determined to bring inflation to a single-digit inflation next year.
Well, in a related development, the finance minister says Ghana's economy has successfully crossed the crisis stage and is growing above the projections of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. He says government is committed to building on the gains with strict adherence to fiscal discipline in a bid to further grow the economy. He was speaking at the 50th anniversary of the Ghana Highway Authorities closing the financing gap in road infrastructure development in Ghana.
The time has come for us to do things differently. And we at the Ministry of Finance will work to ensure investors can be sufficiently supported to deliver a pipeline of bankable projects without cumbersome processes. We also want to look internally to leverage more predictable funding sources, such as pension funds. I can gather, ladies and gentlemen, that pension assets under management reached almost 50 billion Ghana cedis last year. Therefore, we want to work with the regulator and the pension funds to ensure we structure a regime that allows our pension funds to co-invest in commercially attractive infrastructure projects that deliver stable returns on investment. The development of a revised framework for roads and bridge tolls commencing in 2025, for instance, is one measure we believe will ensure that commercial risks are sufficiently mitigated to encourage more pension funds and private financing pools to participate in our road and infrastructure programs. Ultimately, closing the financing gap for road infrastructure in Ghana requires a multi-pronged approach. I am encouraged, therefore, by events such as this, where we can trigger conversations among stakeholders in the road sector with a view to crafting sustainable solutions for funding the expansion of our road network. Undoubtedly, ladies and gentlemen, addressing long-standing issues with our transportation network will not be easy. However, I believe that together we have the ingenuity and willingness to put together solutions that will ensure that we bridge the infrastructure financing gap and create a road network that, over the next 50 years and beyond, will be the envy of our peers on the continent. And I say this very convinced that the economy will grow to support these endeavors. This economy is past the period of economic crisis. We have gone past the period of the crisis. The economy has shown resilience. The economy is growing, defying all odds, growing above World Bank targets, growing above IMF targets. And we are very determined to continue to invest in this economy, to grow and increase our revenue generation, to support government efforts.
Well, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has also been speaking on the current state of Ghana's GDP.
It's very, very clear to me that the private sector is the key, because the budget cannot sustain the financing of roads. I mean, we just don't have those resources in the budget. Otherwise, even if you spend all of it on roads, you still have a shortfall. And we have so many other demands on this very, very narrow budget that we have. So the private sector is the key, and I think we can all agree on that as we think about innovative financing solutions. What is clear to me historically, governments have tried to do too much in the area of roads and commit a lot which really stretches the budget. That seems to be what is going on. And so my view is that you need to shift the burden from government to the private sector. And this is why I have committed as a candidate for the president that when I do my next budget, I'm reducing government expenditure by 3% of GDP in favor of the private sector. That is, we want to realign expenditure from the public sector to the private sector. 3% of GDP is not small. We're talking about 30 billion Ghana cedis, right? So that we want to realign that expenditure. And most of that is going to be in infrastructure and roads, so that you want the financing to be by the private sector. And that, therefore, reduces the burden on government and creates fiscal space at the same time.
Well, the Vice President has also been speaking about what he describes as inequity in road tolls and has suggested that what he describes as a broad-based tooling to address the challenge.
I would like to also make a suggestion that you could consider. Some may say it is provocative, but I think that when we are looking at innovative ways of financing and we say, well, this has to go to the private sector, tolling is, we say tolls as right now designed in many countries. The tolls, you pay specific tolls at particular points. So you're going on the Accra-Tema motorway, you get a toll booth over there. You go to Kaswa, there's a toll booth over there. But it's my view is that we need, if we are going into tolling, we need to think about broad-based tolling. The current architecture that we have in tolling really tends to exclude even the wealthier parts of the population. So if I live in cantonments, East Legon, Ridge, which are the high-end neighborhoods, I will not see a toll. But if I live in Kaswa or somewhere else, I'm likely to meet a toll on the way. There seems to be an inequity in tolling. And I believe that we should look at broad-based tolling. Well, why shouldn't everybody pay? When we put taxes on fuel, we looked at some modeling about a year ago, some modeling on tolling as we were looking at the issue of tolling. I mean, we looked at the current toll revenue as before we abolished the tolls. They were about 70 million Ghana cedis a year. And we said, okay, what if everybody paid? So you put a tax on fuel, for example, 30 pesos or whatever. What if you move, you pay, right? If you don't move, you don't pay. And if everybody pays, you could generate about 2 billion Ghana cedis a year compared to 70 million, right? So that was the thinking, and I think that we should be thinking about methods and that we could make the tolling more broad-based, and then we all contribute to it, and then the revenue will be much higher. So if you can find a way to do this digitally or whatever, we can do it. I mean, but the whole thinking for me is there's an inequity in tolling that, some people don't have to bother. But those are the neighborhoods with the best roads, but they don't contribute, right? So you collect from the poorer areas and do the roads in the richer areas. So anyway, as I said, it's a little provocative, so you can think about it as you discuss. But I believe in broad-based tolling, and we should look.
Well, let's broaden this discussion and bring in development economist Michael Ayamga Adongo is with us. A ranking member on Parliament's Finance Committee, Isaac Adongo, is also joining us. President of Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, is also with us. Let me start with you, Isaac Adongo, because you are on the Finance Committee. Now, you had the finance minister there. They want to ensure they move inflation from where it is now, 22%, to some single-digit inflation by next year. Doable?
They want. What they want is different from what can happen. Didn't they want single digits right from the day they formed the government? They wanted it from then. So if it's about what you want, why are we where we are? We are where we are because you don't have the capacity to manage the economy to deliver what you want. It is the reason the economy delivers to you what your management results are. It's as simple as that. So why should we be discussing wishes? If wishes were horses, beggars will ride, isn't it?
No, but it's been done before. So can they do it? What do they need to do?
This government did not wish to have an inflation of 54%. So if wishes were horses, why were we at 54%? You cannot just say you wish to move it. What are you doing to move it? Have they told you anything they've done to affect the variables that would influence inflation? They haven't. If you are still buying the dollar at 16 cedi, which is driving inflation, and you tell me that all that you want is to get the single-digit inflation, but you are not tackling the driver. You are also aware that food inflation constitutes about 45% of our problem. And you are not doing anything to improve food production in our country to bring down inflation. And you just you having wishful thinking. That's what I'm saying. If wishes were horses, of course, beggars were right. I just listened to, I don't know who was it that was speaking about the tolls.
That's the vice president, sir.
That is the vice president. When did he return from, when did he complete school in Simon Fraser? When he was in school in Simon Fraser, he knows that tolls were collected through digital means. Does it have to take him almost 20 years after leaving Simon Fraser to be contemplating digitalizing collection of tolls? I beg your pardon, you should stop wasting our ears. It's not as if he's now going to be the vice president or head an economic management team. You are currently heading the economic management team. So what stops you? Must you become president before you implement tolls and improve tolls? So please, we are tired of that. Nobody is going to be listening to those wishy-washy comments because you grew up in an environment where you pay tolls by electronic means. Right from the days that when you were in London, you were not paying tolls at toll boats. Then you went to Simon Fraser. Stayed in Simon Fraser for how many years? After almost 30 years. You are not telling us things that you experienced over 30 years ago, and you want us to take it serious?
Well, but I mean, they've been able to move inflation from 54% to 22%. They want to end this year.
Who moved it to 54%?
Hold on. They want to close this year.
Who moved it to 54%? Did they inherit inflation?
No, but let me ask my question first. They want to end this year with 15%.
It is not what they want to do.
If you look at the trend, doesn't it show that they are on the way, they are doing the right things, and therefore they can really achieve single digit by next year?
That is moving any trend? Can you tell me? Have they told you what they are doing that makes you think that they are moving any trend? It's a base effect.
Okay.
If you move inflation at say 15% to 54%, your economy must be so damaged that you can continue to be upwards. It's obvious that the base is bigger, and the base rate effect is that the cumulative inflation will begin to show a slower growth. That is what it is. But what have they done to bring down any inflation? Are they reversing any price increments that have occurred before? All that they are telling you is that the rate at which the prices are increasing are lower. It is not that the prices are coming down. And I'm saying they have not demonstrated to you any concrete policies that they are putting in place to assure you that what they wish would happen would happen.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. If they have told you, maybe you may share with me, but I'm not aware. And it is not about wishful thinking. It's about managing an economy, and there are variables to manage. So far, we haven't seen you managing those variables, except to leave it as an autopilot. Some of these variables are basically happening, not because there's any deliberate fiscal or monetary policy. It is simply because the rational decisions of economic agents, such as individuals and businesses, are taking rational decisions that are impacting this. I am not seeing deliberate that is influencing the kind of trend that you want to do.
Okay. Well, but I mean, you mentioned that food inflation is high, and of course, yeah, that's the fact. But that is why they've also implemented the PFJ2 to try and deal with the food inflation. Is that not?
When was it implemented? When was the P, what do you call it? When was it implemented?
They started implementation, I think in July, they started sharing the seeds to the farmers.
What? Planting for food and jobs, you mean?
Yes, I mean the PFJ, the second part.
No, since 2018, when was the inflation 54%? Was it not 2022? Didn't we have planting for food and jobs?
We did.
What are you saying? We are looking at new, innovative, constructive policies that is changing the paradigm.
Okay.
That is bringing about game-changing events. You don't go and start repeating the very things that you did that failed you. Well, we know in this country, when they said that the only thing they can do is to move the Ministry of Agriculture stop production and is now a retailer of food crops in our country.
Yeah.
Moving food to some market. Is that not it?
Yeah.
And this is it not the planting for food and jobs? Is that the planting for food you are preaching to me?
So what should government do if it wants to tackle the food inflation, for example?
What? He was on the line. You didn't ask him. He is supposed to be proposing policy. Rather, he's about telling people that he's a northerner and the presidency is coming to the north. So he should just be voted for because he's a northerner.
No, he wasn't on the line. But I mean, we all want to build a country. So I'm asking, what should government do?
I'm saying that I am not the one to teach government.
Okay.
Ask them, what is it that government is going to do differently and has done differently? Recently, a question was posed to him about what they were going to do differently. He was still talking about free SHS.
Okay.
You didn't hear that? He was still talking about planting for food and jobs.
Well,
you have 6 months to end the year, and we'll ask you, what are you going to do next? You are still talking about things that have failed you since 2018. And you are now asking me, who is a member of parliament, I don't determine policy, the man who is supposed to drive policy, the man that was believed to be the best brain in economics in our country. Today, you want me to tell him how to manage an economy.
Anyway,
I can only tell Ghanaians to move him out and bring somebody else.
The finance minister
is easy to take the job.
The finance minister says they are sorry. They are sorry, for the harsh economic conditions that we are experiencing now.
That is dishonesty.
Really?
That is dishonesty. Are you sorry because you took us here, or you are sorry because we are suffering? Which is which? You are sorry because you collapsed our bank? You should say so. You are sorry because we warned you that you were borrowing as if there's no tomorrow and you didn't care. You are sorry because you engage in activities where your institutions, banks that are related to you, were the people fronting to borrow for Ghana. Even Ghana didn't need the loan. You needed the fee, so you took your data bank to go and borrow. Is that what you are sorry for? This is dishonest. Tell us what you are sorry for. Look, there cannot be closure without you admitting the fact that you consciously plunged this country into a mess. They must first admit that. Otherwise, anything they say is lip service and it is dishonesty, and the people of Ghana will not forgive them.
But I mean, some Ghanaians ask that this government apologize to them. They have done so. Not enough.
The apology is there are a series of things. What exactly are they apologizing for? Is it COVID-19 they are apologizing for? Because they told her that it is COVID-19. Are they apologizing for Russia-Ukraine war? Is that what they are apologizing for? They are not apologizing for our banks. They've collapsed almost 422 financial institutions. Have they apologized for that? They've apologized. Are they apologizing for the fact that they expanded our public debt for 122 or 120 billion to 746 billion? Is that what they are apologizing for? Are they apologizing for the fact that they took us through a DDEP, that they promised pensioners that they will not give them a haircut and gave them a haircut? Is that what they are apologizing for? They should tell us exactly what they are apologizing for. And you will see the dishonesty in what they are doing. There is really no apology.
Okay.
They are simply playing games with the people of Ghana. They should tell us, is it the Japadia they are apologizing for? Okay. Is it the Japadia, the state capture?
Okay. All right, I'm grateful to you. I am grateful to you. But on the banking sector, should they be apologized? Because they brought reports that indicated that the non-performing loans of some of these banks were just out of the roof, and therefore that's what
they collapsed the bank. At the time they collapsed the bank, the non-performing loans were 17%. Today, the non-performing loans is 25% and above. Shouldn't they be apologizing for making it worse?
Well,
you collapse somebody's bank because he recorded a non-performing loan of 17%. You are doing 25% after throwing over 30 billion of our money. And you are saying they don't need to apologize for that?
Okay. All right.
So what have they solved with our 30 billion? If you are now worsening the non-performing loan situation, worse than you came to meet, and it has cost you close to 30 billion to create a non-performing portfolio of about 25%. Okay?
Okay.
You don't think you need to apologize to us for that?
I'm grateful to
you.
You
need to look the people whose banks you took in the face, the true force of this wealth. You don't think that you need to look them in the face and say, I'm sorry, I was being naive. My agenda was not to make sure that the financial system was healthy. My agenda was that I was pursuing an Ajapadief agenda. And I collapsed your bank because you happen to be on the crossfire. Why shouldn't they be telling us that?
Mr. Adongo, I'm grateful to you.
I
thank you so much. Mr. Adongo, Isaac Adongo is ranking on the Parliament's Finance Committee. Well, let me bring in Michael Ayamga Adongo. He is an economist, development economist. Let me engage him now. I'm grateful to you for joining. Now, the finance minister is talking about, what they want to do to ensure that things are done differently. So they want to now ensure they end the inflation, the year with an inflation of 15%, and next year do a single-digit inflation. You really understand, how things play out in an economy like ours. Is this achievable? What should they do differently to achieve that? Okay. So we'll bring in Michael Ayamga Adongo to join into this conversation. Again, we also have Dr. Joseph Obeng on this same conversation so that we can engage in it. Now, you heard the Vice President said they are trying to involve the private sector in road construction. I heard him say they want to reduce government expenditure of about 3% of GDP in favor of the private sector. What that means, if I really understood it, means that about 3% of GDP that is supposed to be spent on road construction would be given to the private sector to play in. So about 3% of GDP will be sourced from the private sector to come into the road construction. So, for example, the road from, say, Agoran Kwanta to Takwa could be given to a private. Now it's been constructed, but just an example. So you give that road to a private contractor, and then he does it. Is that the sort of meaning that they are trying to communicate, that you want the private sector to do it, and then he or she tolls it and retrieves his money, or what is it really? We'll get more education on that one. I think I have Michael Ayamga Adongo on the line now. Well, we'll take a very quick break here, but we'll do more on this because there's some more interesting areas for us to look at in this particular pronouncement by the Finance Minister and also by the Vice President. Please do stay with us. We'll be back with more. We can now move to your election headquarters, where flag bearer of the opposition NDC is alleging Ghana's international relation with neighboring Burkina Faso has been marred. According to John Mahama, the current situation is attributable to the actions of President Akufo-Addo. He has, however, promised to fix it if elected. Mr. Mahama was addressing the media in the Upper East region.
We know what is happening in Burkina Faso. Indeed, we should be working closer with our comrades in Burkina Faso. Unfortunately, this government has created some tension between us and Burkina Faso because our president went and opened his mouth too wide. You saw the video. He went and was doing conconsa about your neighbor. We all are here. We are suffering. America called you small. You are so excited. And then your neighbor, you are doing conconsa about him. And so it has created some diplomatic tension. He went there, went and apologized, but still it's not the best. So when government changes, we have to go and talk to our neighbors because we must work together. Indeed, the whole anti-terrorism strategy of this sub-region was done in Accra. It's called the Accra Initiative. And so we are the hosts of that initiative. So we must be reaching out to them and seeing how we can collaborate with them in order that we quench the fire in their houses. Because if there's fire in your neighbor's house, you don't help him to put it off, it will spread to your house. And so I think that we must improve our relationship with Burkina Faso. At the same time, we must also strengthen our surveillance and security so that in case it comes into our borders, we are able to deal with it.
Well, let's do more on this by speaking to Ghana's ambassador to Burkina Faso, Boniface Gambila, who's joining us via Zoom here. I'm grateful to you for joining. The former president says the relationship between Ghana and Burkina has been marred because of what the president said. You are on ground. Is this factual?
It's not factual. If the relationship had been marred, I would have been packing out. If the relationship had been marred, my embassy officers would have packed back to Ghana. We are very cordial. We work together. I wonder if the former president is putting his knowledge and skills into play. And what he's doing is like trying to incite Burkina Faso against Ghana. That is what he's doing, which is very bad. Why do you, a former president, you are telling us that your colleague opened his mouth wide. When President Nanado went to the US meeting, it was clear. Later, at the end, the intent of his message was what was important. And the intent of the message at that time was to mobilize resources for the people, the government and people of Burkina Faso to fight terrorism effectively. And I can tell you, the contributions from President Addo and the Accra Initiative has pushed this government forward in their fight against terrorism, irrespective of any other help they are getting. When that happened, an undersecretary of the United States had to pay a visit here at the same time that he is saying that the president opened his mouth wide. The undersecretary came and he personally cornered me and asked me about our relations with Burkina. And I told him, and he said he wanted to know how I did it. And he was so excited. He went back to America very happy that Ghana and Burkina Faso were very peaceful. We went to the extent to explain that we are relatives, we are brothers and sisters because of our artificial borderlines. We are brothers and sisters.
But if
our relationship is mad.
But if there was nothing, if our relationship, was not sort of wobbling, will the undersecretary then ask you what is the status of our relationship?
Yeah, that is when what the former president is saying, that the president went to America and opened his mouth wide. And yes, there were questions about that. And so when he followed up to Burkina, he needed to know how it was done. It was because of that he came. So it isn't that there was no problem and he came. He came and tried to find out how that problem was resolved. But to say again, if our relationship is mad, Burkina Faso will not be in Ghana now doing training with our Ghana police. If our relationship is mad, this time we have our STC bus fully incorporated operating in Burkina Faso. The bus used to move with one trip. Today, the bus moves 2 trips because Burkina Faso love Ghana and they know Ghana is peaceful and they know Ghana is a brother and sister. They are all converging in Accra, Ghana, and coming back. If the relationship is mad, we will not be doing certain things with them together, which I would not say on media. We are working together as brothers and sisters, not even just as diplomats. So for a former president to go out there, if he's doing his campaign, he should just do his campaign and show his competence and abilities. But he should not tread into cross-border issues. Ghana Border Commission, Burkina Border Commission, I was in Bulgaria with them for over a week at Akayet, doing border work. They are going to meet again this month in Jirapa. Ghana Border Commission, Burkina Border Commission. They've been meeting every day. Ask General Kotia, who is in Accra there. He will tell you all the good things he has come to see here. When General Kotia came to hold meetings with his counterparts here in border commission work, he was amazed that the relationship people think is mad is so excellent here. So it's a difficult situation I don't want to attack the former president so much. You think I'm doing politics. But these are the real facts. As I'm talking to you, Burkina's top police. They are in Accra with Ghana police, exchanging knowledge, learning. The Burkina government had to do a certain training program for its police. They went around African countries. It's Ghana they chose, and today they are in Ghana learning. You see? And our security services, they link together. They work very well. That is why Ghana, we are sleeping very peacefully. If the president and the two presidents were not talking, like by now, there will be the kind of fire he's thinking of. You know, so the kind of divisive language, the former president goes to Baku to talk, to incite people to attack each other, trying to divide even Ghanaians among themselves. He is now extending it to at international level. That is not good.
But that's a serious allegation there, that the former president goes into Baku to divide the people there. We know how volatile the place is.
We don't do what?
I said, what you said there was a serious allegation. Because we know how volatile the place is, that the former president, a former leader of this country, goes to Baku to divide the people, to act divisively. That's a serious allegation.
But don't you follow his campaign trail? Last week or some few days ago, I've not seen it on the media. He goes to Baku and says he will divide a region, he will divide this. Instead of telling them, take time, talk peace. He's talking, you know what is happening in Baku. So he goes to Baku and he says, this place is big, this place is small, he will divide them. You know, all this they are not allegations. They are things we hear from his voice. So just do your research a bit. So by coming up as a former president and a current statesman, you don't come and say relationship between Ghana and Burkina is mad because the president went to America and opened his mouth wide. How can a former president speak like that? Well, we are working together here. We didn't pack out to say that the people were angry. Yes, first, when they heard the news, they expressed their dissatisfaction without finding out. But when they called me to the Foreign Affairs, Foreign Ministry, and later the president of this country called me and we conversed. He invited my president came. They even spoke some things more away from those things that he's talking about. Okay. The President Nanado and President Traoré spoke of how to collaborate and fight terrorism up here. Spoke of how Ghana security and Burkina security can cooperate. Spoke about what kind of support to be given to each side. You know, how we should strengthen our borders. And that led to the Ghana Border Commission and the Burkina Border Commission working 24 hours, 367.
Okay, all right.
And like I've said, Burkinabés come to Ghana a lot, both official and non-official.
Okay.
They sent us a new competent ambassador. We have an ambassador of Burkina Faso in Accra there. He was appointed after.
Okay. I get it. But I mean, I still find it difficult to understand that if the former president says, I'll divide this place, you see that as divisive. This government has created regions from existing regions.
My brother,
that wasn't divisive.
My brother, we are human beings and we are Ghanaians. Okay. And I'm a psychologist and a psychometrician. The intent of a message is different from the raw message. In communication, the intent of a message it's determined by the audience, not by you, the communicator. Okay. And so you know what is happening in Baku. So he should go and preach peace in Baku. But when you go to Baku today and you begin to talk of, we'll divide you, we are big, you are this, you are that. Look, we are Ghanaians and we are human beings. Let's face those facts. And psychologically, you know what his intent was different from the message.
Okay.
All right. And I'm an audience. I listen to it.
Okay. I get it.
The onus of understanding of a message lies with the communicator. But the determination, the understanding of the message lies with the audience.
Okay, all right. Let me bring in Dr. Victor Doke. He is a security analyst with the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Dr. Doke, you've done extensive research on security in that area. Is that a statement of fact coming from John Mahama?
Good day. If I got it correctly, you were asking if the statement was in the right direction from the former president, right?
Was a statement of fact that indeed, I mean, Ambassador has explained that our situation, that our relationship has not been mad. But from where you sit, is John Mahama factual on that?
Well, thank you very much. Let's look at the personality speaking, the former president, who was once the commander of the Ghana Armed Forces. Therefore, he has, extensive insight when it comes to security issues. He'll be briefed, and even as of his status as ex-president, I'm sure he has some sort of briefing when it comes to security matters. Now, with regards to his actual statement he made, we know this diplomatic, I don't know what to say without use cafe or unfortunate incident happened some months past, and steps were taken, and now we are on a path of reconciliation. But I think what the former president said is based on either him having knowledge of a renewed, relationship that is being made based on some agreement that has been
but Dr. Doke, you heard the ambassador there say that as we speak, top police officers of Burkina are here in Ghana, partnering with the Ghana Police Service on policing. I mean, does that smell of any mad relationship?
No, it doesn't. Now, apparently, it's only the police. Now, you can talk about the Accra Initiative, right? Which the ex-president mentioned. It is a collaborative effort between 7 or so countries to counter terrorism. And it's not only in the policing aspect, the military aspect, also in the intelligence sphere, are all collaborating when it comes to the Accra Initiative. So you cannot say because they are here, there's some sort of problem with them. I think for the fact that we know they are here, gaining knowledge, building their capacity with our security forces, it's a good direction. And it helps the Accra Initiative by and large. And also to enforce or to strengthen our, security apparatus with regards to the border security when it comes to the inflow of refugees, asylum seekers. We are having immigrants that are coming in through illegal routes. Those areas all need to be enforced by putting personnel who understand the dynamics of what we are fighting against.
Yeah, but I mean, the focus is on the relationship. Is it mad? I mean, if you look at all that is happening around us, that we are doing a partnership in policing, the ambassador says they even have a new ambassador in Accra here. Does it really point to the fact that our situation is on a rocky ground at the moment?
No. The facts that you've stated, they have an ambassador here. We are collaborating with regards to the security front. In my analysis with regards to this, then I think the relationship is okay. So then what must be done to ensure or safeguard our relationship? We have to just ensure that certain comments do not come out from our political figures or heads that would mar that relationship that has been restored.
Okay. All right, so that is the caution that you give them. I'm grateful to you, Dr. Doke, and to you, Ambassador, also for joining us here. Boniface Gambila joining us all the way from Burkina Faso. This is The Pulse. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Please do stay. Well, welcome back from the break. Let's do much more about the energy now, because we're at a point in time where we all should be concerned about this environment that we live in, else things will not go as planned. That's why the Energy Commission has introduced the Senior High Schools Renewable Energy Challenge, Schools Challenge, and that's a project based on competition born out of the collaboration between the Energy Commission, the Ghana Education Service, and the Ghana TVET Service. The Schools Challenge seeks to provide education and awareness on renewable energy, clean energy and energy efficiency among the various senior high schools and technical institutions in the country. The aim is to promote creative thinking and problem solving among students. Of course, that's how education should be, right? Our students will use local materials and applied renewable energy technology to solve problems in their locality. Schools that have their project selected are offered a platform to showcase their project, and the outstanding project are awarded prizes. So what kind of prizes are we looking at? Joining us in the studio is Emmanuel Omang Okwe, who is the National Inter-Science and Chemistry Coordinator. He's with me in the studio. The GES National STEM Unit as well. That's where he is. And Bernice Notte, who is an officer from the Energy Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hope all is well.
Yes.
All is well.
Okay. This is quite fascinating, really, that we are having a program that is tailored towards what children will do to solve the challenges about this environment. We know where we are in times where climate change is really wreaking havoc on all of us. People don't seem to see the moment we're in, but we are under that time. So what is this Energy Commission's Senior High Schools Renewable Energy Challenge, and where are the zonals being held? But really, let's understand what the focus is.
Okay, so the Energy Commission is the technical regulator of the energy sector. As part of our mandate under the Renewable Energy Act, we have the mandate to advise the relevant educational institutions on the inclusion of renewable energy development and its utilization in the educational curriculum. So based on this mandate, the Energy Commission decided to collaborate with the Ghana Education Service. That was in 2019, because TVET schools were also under the Ghana Education Service. So we decided to collaborate with the Ghana Education Service to start this challenge. So the challenge is geared towards instilling the interest of renewable energy technologies in our senior high school students. Because I don't know about you, but I got to know about renewable energy after university.
Okay.
So I don't know if when you were even in SHS,
well,
you know about...
My project work was on climate change.
Okay, so you had an upper hand.
I did agrics, maybe.
Okay, sure, probably. So we are trying to get the students interested in renewable energy right from their secondary school education level before they even enter into the university. Because if you can agree with me, there are various courses on renewable energy right now in our universities. And we don't want the students in Ghana to be left behind when they are given a bigger platform to compete on a global base. So we are trying to instill that interest in them right from the get-go. It also gives them the opportunity to improve upon their presentation skills and their research skills as well. So it's a bit of, you are using your theoretical knowledge and then the practical knowledge to be able to prepare you better for the job market.
How has it been since you started?
This is our 5th year. So we started in 2019 at a pilot project in the Greater Accra region. Then 2020, because of COVID, we couldn't do it. Then 2021, we expanded to all the 16 regions, 14 participated. But from 2022, all 16 regions have participated fully. So there's been a steady increase in the number of schools that have been participating. We've also seen an increase in the presentation skills of the students, with especially the girls' schools. As you can see, girls read more than boys. And they try, it's the truth, it's the truth, it's the truth, it's the truth.
Of course.
It's the truth. So the girls' schools, increasingly, you've seen that they are able to articulate themselves well. Sometimes you see the boys' schools, they bring a project, but the English becomes a little bit of a problem. But for this year, there's been an increase in how they are able to articulate themselves to better explain the projects that they have done. So it's a project-based competition. You are given a theme, and then you are supposed to develop a project around the theme, which is geared towards solving a particular problem. This year, the theme is application of renewable energy technologies in solving land degradation and water pollution. Okay.
So it means that every project that a school does should be
either geared towards, yes, solving land degradation or water pollution.
Okay. Now, where are the zonals being held?
So the zonals are being held in Kumasi.
Okay.
The Northern Zone competition will be held at the Engineering Auditorium, KNUST campus. And the Northern Zone comprises of Ola Girls SHS from Ahafo region, St. James Seminary from Bono region, Nkranza Technical Institute from Bono East, YSHS from Upper West, Notre Dame Seminary from Upper East, Inderua Jakpa from Savannah region, Dabopa Technical Institute from the Northern region, and Walewale SHTS from Northeast. Okay. So that will be at the Engineering Auditorium on Saturday, which is 10th August. It will start at 12 noon.
This coming Saturday?
Yes, please. It will start at 12.
Okay.
Then we have the Southern Zone, which will be on Monday, 12th August, at the Great Hall, also on KNUST campus. And then we have Wesley Grammar SHS representing the Greater Accra region, Infantipim Central, Ahantaman Girls Western.
I love that name.
Ahantaman. It's not Ahantaman. Please, when we went, we were told it is not Ahantaman. It's Ahantaman Girls.
Oh, what's this?
It's Ahantaman Girls.
Spell it. Isn't it A-H-A-N-T-A then man?
Yes.
Ahantaman.
Please. They said it is not Ahantaman.
Why are
Ahantaman Girls
doing this to ourselves? We need to correct it. We are Ghanaians. We are not. Ahantaman. Me, I'll go. Okay, anyway. That's different.
Ahantaman Girls.
Yeah, here.
From Western region.
I'll pronounce it the way I understand. Don't worry.
Seshubekwai from Western North.
Okay.
St. Roses from the Eastern region. Pando from the Volta region. And then Rara from the Oti region.
Okay.
So these schools are going to compete in the Southern Zone on Monday, 12th August.
Oh, okay.
At the Great Hall, 10 a.m.
Great Hall, yeah.
Yes, KNUST.
Also in Kenya?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
please.
so everything is happening there.
Yes, please.
But I'm told one is to happen, one was supposed to be in Accra.
No, so we have 2 zones.
Okay.
We have 16 regional competitors. Then we divide them into 2 zones. Yeah. So the Northern Zone is
the Southern.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they are all in Kumasi.
Oh, okay. I thought the Southern was going to be in Accra.
No, please.
Okay.
The finals is in Accra.
Okay.
That's in on 8th October.
8th October.
Yes, please.
Let's see what. But I wish all the schools all the best. Let me bring in Imado. Imado, what does this challenge mean to the Ghana Education Service, and of course, what is GES doing to support this program?
Thank you very much, and then very good evening to all our cherished viewers. Greetings from the Director General Ghana Education Service, Dr. Nkansa, and then also my immediate director, Madam Olivia Sewapari. That is the Director for the National STEM Unit of GES Headquarters. All right, so for us to GES, definitely, you know, out of all the talks concerning how teaching and learning, especially in terms of the STEM areas or STEAM, let me put it that way, started, the idea has always been we want to have learners directly putting the theory to practice, because we are all complaining and we're seeing we have students who are churned out, and yet everyone complains they seem to be unemployable, and therefore we are getting all this unemployment. Again, we have issues of values from what they have even learned from school, etc. But now, why don't we channel all the energies, bring them directly so that they can have a say into the problems that are actually happening around them, so that they bring to mind whatever they are learning in terms of the theory directly to help solve the problems. That way they tend to begin to value whatever they are getting as well. So in our bid to look at this direction, that is why the issue of the energy challenge equally also came in. That is one very area where learners have the opportunity to, now they are just given the theme, and then they are putting groups so that you go around, look out for your own solutions. So what do we see here? Learners come up with their own hypothesis, so they have the opportunity. Elsewhere, they were only looking at what hypotheses, they were just defining them, writing them in the examination, but now it is becoming real. There is a challenge ahead of us. Now what do we do? This is a real situation. So they do the hypothesis, they go ahead, now they do further research to come out with various solutions, and then they test these solutions. Okay. The end of all this is where we now see them showcasing their various solutions that they have. So you can think about it where learners are already contributing directly into solving national problems.
Okay. All right.
The benefit of their education.
And what has been, why, you want to add on something?
Yes, I forgot one school. Obuasi SHS is representing the Ashanti region.
Okay.
I want to correct it before I get to it.
Okay. All right. But Emmanuel, what are some of the benefits, of this, of this challenge to teachers, the students and the schools as well?
All right. So thank you. Just as I started, now apart from what learners are directly doing, we see them actually developing the various core skills, the 21st century skills, competencies are being enhanced. Now, for teachers, giving them the opportunity to now engage learners directly onto the area of learning. Learners are developing self-learning because they are going ahead with research by themselves. They are forming teams. Teachers are supporting them so that they can end up come out with finished results that is benefiting society. Okay. So for us, whatever we have planned so far as the curriculum is concerned, this is directly linked with energy issues. So right from the word go, they are getting that kind of benefit. Okay. Two, the learners are also now becoming, she explained as to the opportunity where they are able to express themselves based on the presentations that they do, etc. Okay. So they are gaining more confidence. Teachers are also now getting to see that the theories that we are giving to learners are also now coming into reality. For GES, this is exactly what we want, because now we are training our students who are becoming beneficial even right from school before they come out to society.
All right. And I wish you all the best in this competition.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for passing through. It's been wonderful having you, and I wish you all the best in this. We hope that the schools and students will live up to, expectation.
Thank you so much.
But away from that, a group staff of produce buying company PBC today stormed the head office in Accra and demanding payment of their 12 to 14 month salary arrears. Some staff members, now forced to ask for alms and borrow to survive, are calling on the government to sack the current management and probe the activities. My colleague Michael Ashley was there and our reports.
Scores of staff of the produce buy company PBC have besieged the company, ordering them and pushing them essentially to pay them arrears of salary. Well, some of them are talking about 12 months unpaid salaries. For some others, 14 months. Today, they say enough is enough. They are here to pile pressure on their government, on their management, to pay them these amount of money. They are here in their numbers, but many of them saying that they need the money today, and we'll hear from them the ultimatum that was also given to their management. You can see them in their numbers here, and the presence of the Ghana Police Service trying to enforce the mandate that was to be given them by the PBC. I'm told that they've been told not to allow these workers into the premises of PBC, but you can see from the placards some of them hold that one of them reads that PBC management, where is the company's dispatched motto? I'm pretty sure that they are asking them where the motto we're going to give them, for, especially those in the hinterlands, are going to be used. Mr. President, probe PBC management for mismanagement. This one says that PBC management lacks technical competence. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. I'm very much great. Just that we haven't been paid. So in my pocket and social life, I am not okay.
When you say you are not okay, what are you talking about?
It is just because for the past 14 months, some 12 months, some 14 months, we haven't received salaries. Our wives are on us, our landlords are ejecting us from our various homes, our colleagues are dying, and for that matter, we are not fine.
Interesting. So for you, where do you lie? I see that from one of the placards, security men are those that have not been paid for 14 months. Yeah. Where do you lie as an individual?
My more focus is where my staff or my colleagues here, they haven't eaten for the solid 12 months. It's my very much concern, and this is what we are calling upon the government to just look at it first and foremost before we can even talk about anything.
Interesting. So walk me through the list of issues that you have with management of PBC. I mean, I understand that as our salaries are in arrears 12 to 14 months. Yeah. What other issues do you have with your management?
We have other issues. The issue has to do with the technical incompetence of management. And we are calling upon the government that henceforth from today and even up to the end of this month, he should call off this management. We can't work with them. So, boy, are you ready to work with them? We can work with this management. They don't have the technical know-how. If not so, we wouldn't have come to this situation. They took this company from where we were having a market share of 30.8%, and now we are completely flat with 0%. Another issue has to do with how management has intimidated the staffs. Because over the years, some have been suggesting that, look, these issues are not helping the company. Don't do this. We have our colleagues, Fred Akon, who made a statistical projection suggesting that the company is flopping down. It is coming down. He is one of our auditors. He made all these projections, and finally we have come to that situation. But when he made that point, management called him to disciplinary committee and finally sacked him. So that intimidation has overcrowded the staff. We have something called Provident Fund. It is also coming from our own savings. We have Provident 1, Provident 2. The Provident 1 is paid every year, and the Provident 2 is paid every 3 years. As we speak now, it is now well stretched over 7 years. We haven't received both PF1, PF2. In addition to unpaid salary for the past 14 months and others 12 months.
It must be very difficult to be a staff of PBC at the moment. But let me talk to the regular staff. What will be the impact on some of those who have not been paid for 12 to 14 months? How have they coped over the time? Bossman, thank you very much for joining us.
Good.
What's your name?
I'm George.
George what?
George Taylor.
Okay, George Taylor. George, so 12 months, 14 months, which of them are you? 12 months?
12 months.
You have been paid for 12 months?
Yeah.
How have you been coping?
Yeah, living on friends and families, to be borrowing and be owing. I do farming and stuff like that to keep up myself. They have to pay me. They have to give me my tier 3. They have to give me my PF1. They have to give me my PF2. They have to give me all that is I'm due for.
Quite troubling times for the staff of PBC, but we'll keep an eye on this particular story and we'll be updating you when we get any latest. There's more of that story on Prime tonight at 7 p.m. That's how we wrap up the pulse today. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. If you go into that portal, it says 2 juicy Cocoa Road projects were awarded to Baumia's brother in 2020. That according to Sammy Jamfi. Now, also, Mahama rubbishes Guinea fowl fiasco, says none flew to Burkina Faso. Those and other stories on the myjoyonline.com portal. Thanks for being a part of us today. My name is Samuel Kojo Brezu. I'll leave you in the hands of LTS. On behalf of the production team, I say thank you for being a part of us. We'll meet again, God willing, tomorrow. Good evening.
People wouldn't have known that we're friends, and now we're no longer friends, or because we do not post anymore. People get busy, you know. Yeah. People get really busy, and we are growing. I mean, I wake up and I have so much to do. Same with my friends. We can't meet to snap every day, but we sometimes talk. It doesn't mean that we are not friends anymore. So that's just by the way. That's just by the way.
And you have a new whip, a new Range Rover.